Hey there, lovely people. Welcome back to my channel. Today is another Story Study Saturday. I'm Sammy, and I'm a writer who likes to read books and learn from them and share what I learned with you. This week, I'm gonna talk to you about Ace of Spades by an author whose name I will never be able to pronounce correctly because I have never heard it said. I'm gonna start off by saying I had a lot of hope for this book. I've been judging books based off of their covers for a few months now, and it's been great most of the time because either they're being very strongly recommended or they have a really cool cover that just sort of vibes with me. Recently, I've been picking up more books that have Black people on the cover just because I feel like it's a very underrepresented group in terms of what's being popularized on like Book Talk and all of that. So I've just been drawn to them. And this obviously is a book with Black people on the cover. It's got a really interesting name, a really interesting concept, very, very great reviews. And I am the first 1-star review on Goodreads. And I kind of feel bad about it, but at the same time, I almost DNF'd it and I just couldn't not finish it because I needed to know if it was gonna get better. And it was like chapter 2. I was like, I don't think this is a good book. But then I was like, it's got great reviews. It's so good. It's gonna be fine. It's just the time that it takes to get into it. That's all that's happening. It wasn't. So let's talk about the things that I liked about it, right? Obviously, really cool cover, very, very artistic, very appropriate. It draws into what you think the book is going to be, and it's a very good concept for a story. This has so much potential, and I think that's a lot of the reason why it's getting that community around it, the support, the amazing reviews. It's because it's new. It's a new concept. It's got fantastic representation, and it's a genre that's not really played with enough. It's like a dark academia. It's got queer and gay characters. It's got all of this like cyberbullying, all of the things that are sort of not explored in a Black community as often as they are in white communities. It gives you that representation in a place where it's not normally seen. It's got all kinds of empowerment opportunities available to it just by being what it is. Why didn't I like it? There are a bunch of reasons. Let's just start from the beginning, right? So chapter 2, when I was like, I don't think this is a good book. That moment that I had, chapter where we meet Chiamaka, the female main character, she is just repeating the same one personality trait over and over in different ways through a whole chapter. It's like, I want to be better than everyone else. I want everyone else to look at me and think, wow, she's so much better than me. I wish I was like her. I'm so jealous of her. I want everybody to be jealous of me. I'm the best here, and I've worked really hard to be the best here. And all of this repetitive singularity that it felt like her whole personality was just gonna be, I am the best and I'm gonna be the best, which is so boring. Why would you let a character who is the leading female of your story be, I am better than everyone else? Why would you just let it just be that? She needed so much more to her. She needed to allow more to come through in her inner monologue. While we get that she's not this person that she is at school later on in the book, the first impression of her is, I'm better than everyone and I'm going to be better than everyone forever because I'm the best. And that's not likable. You want to establish your characters at the beginning as something that people are gonna want to follow. I didn't want to follow her. I was like, okay, cool, you're the best. Shut up. I understand it gives you room for growth as the character progresses through the story. You can tinker that down, but you can't give room for growth with only one thing. They have to have some more to them than just the one thing. And aside from just that one moment at the beginning, throughout the whole book, there are all of these moments of just complete redundancy where the characters will say the same thing over and over again, and it feels like a high school student trying to get to the word count on an assignment. That's not very nice to say, but that's how it felt. It felt like a lot of the words were just there so that they could fill out the chapter. And there were a lot of cliches and just utter redundancies that made me feel like I was on a merry-go-round. Like, I was just here. For example, on the redundancies, there was a section where Chiamaka, probably in that second chapter, if I'm being totally honest, Chiamaka was listing off all of the things that make her the best. And one of them was, I speak 4 languages. 5, if you count English. Why wouldn't you count English? Why did you need to say that? Why couldn't you say, I speak 5 languages? That feels like you're just using this filler. It doesn't feel like a character choice, because if she's saying that she's the best and she's the smartest, she wouldn't be like, I speak 4 languages, 5 if you count English, because everybody counts English. Nobody wouldn't count English. It's a language. It's a complicated language. It's very hard to learn. So yeah, you count English as a language that you speak. I have a couple of friends who speak multiple languages and they count English. It's not like, oh, I speak Spanish and English, so I speak 1 language, 2 if you count English. It doesn't, like, why are you saying so many words for something you don't need to say? And then there's all of these like cliches and these moments where it's like the characters are very out of character. It feels like the author is trying to make themselves happy. So there's one line that I remember being like, I think my plan is brilliant. And then the next line, this was like in her head, she thought, I think my plan is brilliant. And then Devon says, I think your plan is stupid. Like right after. It's not in the characters' voices that have been established. That was like 80% into the book. I'm sorry I don't have page numbers. I read on a Kindle, so it's like 80% into the book. So we're acquainted with how these characters talk at that point. And that ain't it. It happens so many times that once you get used to how the writing is, like I had to actively stop myself from making a note every chapter about how the writing was. I was like, you know what? It's fine. This is just how the writing is. Once I got used to it, from like 40 to 60% of the book, that chunk, I was like, this is fine. This is just how it's written. And they kept putting in those little moments, like that point at 80% where it was like, I think your plan is stupid. And I'm just taken out of the story, of what the story could have been, because of those moments that just don't feel like they belong. I think a main portion of what my problems are with this story is that it's YA. It's marketed as YA. The characters are 18. They are seniors in high school working on going to college. They're supposed to be intelligent, but the book feels like it's written as like a middle grade story. The writing isn't at the level that readers of the story are at. And obviously it's not something that bothers anybody who reads for fun. It's a fine story for plot. The plot is fine. It's engaging enough. You have the conflict, you have the bad guy, and you spend the whole time trying to figure out who the bad guy is. It kind of felt to me like a cop-out at the end, where you spend the whole story trying to figure out who the bad guy is, and then you find out. And when you find out, there's almost no way you're wrong. I feel like that's not really a spoiler because I didn't tell you what it is, but there's almost no way that you're wrong. So this story has all of this potential, but then it writes and it talks down to its readers and it repeats itself and undermining these characters that have so much potential to be strong characters. And they are, I believe this is the most passive of a character that I have ever seen, because they keep having stuff done to them. The story is just things happening to them and we watch them react. They are completely reactive, and for some reason it's supposed to be good. There's no engagement from them until 43% into the book. I marked it because I was like, wow, they're doing something. That's almost halfway through the book. Their inciting incident happened to them. Their rising actions happened to them. Almost all the way up to the climax happened to them. If I didn't want to read this book specifically to make a video about it, I would never have seen these characters stand up for themselves at all. I would never have seen them try to solve their problems a single time. That is embarrassing to me, because this story has so much potential to be this empowering story of Black kids taking their futures into their own hands, taking care of themselves. This world that is pitted against them because they're Black, they have so much potential to make it work, and they just don't. They just don't. They just keep letting things happen to them. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a benefit of a doubt, because I understand. In the real world, that's probably what would have happened. In the real world, once the inciting incident happened, they probably would have been like, oh my gosh, I gotta figure this out. I gotta just not let it bother me, because if it bothers me, then there's gonna be a problem. And if there's a problem, then I won't get to do what I need to do. I won't get to graduate if I make too much noise. You know? If there are serious issues in the real world, most of the time we take it and we pacify in it until we can solve it confidently. That's not what you do in a story, though. When you have characters that are having a bunch of situations happen to them or happen at them, and they're not doing anything about it and they're just reacting, it makes such a boring story. You don't root for them. You don't care. Well, you care a little bit because you're trying to put yourself into their position, but you don't care. You don't think that it's gonna end up working out. You think it's gonna go all wrong because they just keep letting things go wrong. They don't try to do anything right. So these passive characters are not doing anything. They're not giving the opportunity that this book has of being an empowerment story. They aren't doing that. They don't empower these characters at all. They stay in the stereotype of what Black people are taught, which I think is not good. I don't think that's a good use of a platform, this opportunity that was just missed. Because if you have a society, we have a society where Black people are raised the way that they have been raised for generations, that has been influenced so thoroughly by slavery that we still tell Black kids, Black parents still tell their kids to be quiet and keep your voice down. Don't talk to the white man like that. All of the things that we were taught generationally through slavery, we're still teaching generationally. And either Black people are seen as this violent, aggressive race of people, or this passive, we can walk all over them race of people. And this had the opportunity to bridge that gap and just make them a race of people. And it didn't take it. It just let them keep getting walked over, literally until the epilogue. They were being walked over the whole time. Even when they were trying to solve their problems, they were just continuing to be walked over. They didn't even actually end up solving their problems. A community of people rose up together, which I suppose relates to the protest that happened in 2020, and we can see that changes have come from those protests, but these characters never did anything. There was one act that led to the solution to their problem, and it was done as an afterthought. The only time that we get to see them doing something that they're not being walked all over is in the epilogue, which takes place in the future after these kids have gotten to be full adults and their professions in line, and it has this weird morbidity of like assault and abuse kind of stuff going on. And it doesn't feel empowering. It doesn't feel empowering at all. It feels like they are just gonna be committing a revenge because they can. So what can we learn from this book? Oh, so much. We can learn so much. We can learn that, for one, if you have a story that has potential, that is something new and something different, that gives representation to a community that is often silenced in literature, you have the opportunity to have a best-selling book. You can do that. If you write for your community that is underrepresented, you have all of the power in the world. This book would not have the influence that it has if it were not a representative book. We can also learn that editing is great, and if you read your book out loud as you're editing, your final couple of drafts, read it out loud and listen to yourself. Hear when you say the same thing multiple times. Listen for it. Listen for redundancies, listen for cliches, listen for moments when your characters don't quite sound like themselves, and mark them, because somebody else is gonna mark them. It may be me. You wanna make sure that your writing is the best that you can put out. Make sure that your writing is at the level of your target audience's ability to read. Make sure that you are writing for who will be reading it. We can learn that characters who let things happen to them are not as interesting as characters who work towards something. Even if your plot is the best possible story idea ever, and you just need to put some characters into it to make it happen, it's not going to be good unless your characters are making the story happen. Your story should be driven by your characters, not by the plot. This story was so thoroughly driven by the plot that the characters could have literally been anyone. It didn't have to be Chiamaka and Devon. It could have been anyone else, and it would have had the exact same impact. The plot would have gone the exact same way because they didn't do anything to it. Make sure your characters are affecting the plot. Your characters should be driving your story, not the other way around. I didn't want to be as harsh as I was, but I feel like it's the most genuine response that I've had in a while. If you read Ace of Spades and you enjoyed it, please talk to me in the comments. Tell me why you liked it, what made it good to you, because I'm having a very hard time seeing anything other than representation as what makes this story enjoyable to others. I would love to hear another opinion because I read through reviews. Most of them were just representation based and genre based praise, and I cannot find something that makes this book good aside from the concept. And I feel really bad about being the first person to give it a 1 star, but I also feel like somebody had to. I really would love to hear other people's opinions on this book because I like having an open mind towards these things, and literature is completely subjective of what people enjoy and what people don't. But I feel like objectively this book was not written for the audience that it is targeting. And I've tried really hard to see the strengths in it. And if you have some strengths in this story to tell me about, I would love to hear them. Please drop a comment down below. We'll have a book chat. But if you liked this video, please leave a like. If you disagree with me, please leave a like. I want more people who disagree with me to see this video and leave comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like it, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. I will be back on Tuesday for a writing tip Tuesday, and again on Saturday for another story study Saturday.